Hi guys, so I decided I was going to sit down and make a video about, I don't want to say my childhood because it's not my entire childhood, but about my biological father. I'll probably make like a couple videos of like everything, but like that has to do with like my depression and anxiety, and because it's just easier than typing it out and having people read it. You get to listen to me instead. I know I currently look like crap. I've been doing yard work all day, so please ignore that. But I just want to say I'm not going to be using names in this just for these people's privacy. Those of you who know him, but otherwise we're just going to keep it as biological father, and we'll make up names along the way. So I'm going to start from the beginning. My mom was quite young when she had me, and then about 2 years later, my parents were married, had me, had my brother, and then my biological father cheated on my mom, and she left, and then they got split custody, I believe, but my mom more had full custody of my brother and I. So we did see our father, but for the longest time, I always, like, whenever he would blame me for something, or make me feel guilty for something, or get mad at me, or get angry, or do something hurtful, or say something hurtful, like, I would always just be like, no, like, he's my dad, like, I have to love him. And I was like, I can't not love him like that. That's my dad. Sorry for that, by the way. But I didn't realize, because of those blinders, everything that was happening, all the manipulation, all the lies he would tell my brother and I, just everything, all the drinking he did, all the women he brought home, like, everything. And he would get rude. Like, I remember at times he would tell me that, like, when he was drunk and angry, that, like, nobody would love me. And I'm just, like, it baffles me now, like, looking back at it, like, how can a father, like, do that to somebody? Like, to your child, like, how can you do that? And so, later on in life, I say that like a couple years later, he started seeing this lady. We'll call her Sarah, because that's lots of people have that name. So Sarah had a daughter whom my brother and I did not get along with. We didn't get along with Sarah. It was just bad. They were on and off at least 50 times, at least. Like, they were always on and off. They were always fighting. She would call the cops on him. He would call the cops on her. Like, it was very, 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 very negative. And, like, I'm trying not to get angry in this video. I'm gonna try not to cry, so please excuse me. But so they were on and off. Eventually they decided to move in together and get engaged, and one day, we hadn't seen our biological father in a long time, like months, and that was our choice. That was mine and my brother's choice. My mom had nothing to do with this. My mom was always like, you guys need to see your dad, like, you guys need to have your dad in your life, like, come on. Like, she was pushing us to see our dad. She wanted us to have our dad in our life, and it was our choice not to see him, due to the fact that he would forget birthdays. He would lie to us. When we were with him, he wouldn't do anything with us. He would drink, and, like, it was bad, and, like, he would yell at us and be mean, and, like, we weren't happy there. So why would we go? And so we hadn't seen our dad in a very, very, very long time. And so one day, he picked us up through the weekend, and we're like, okay, like, we're gonna spend time with him. It's not been a while. Maybe things have changed. We were giving him the benefit of the doubt that things had changed. And we got there, and he took us out to lunch, and he said we were just going to relax and get home. Well, he started drinking right away. And he ended up falling asleep on the couch, which would often happen when he drank. And it was the day of Sarah's daughter's cheerleading match. And she didn't want to drive to Grand Rapids by herself. So she was trying to force our father into driving her. And he was like, no, I'm going to spend the time with my kids. Which was already weird because I don't think I ever heard those words come out of his mouth. And so he was trying to, because they were arguing, he was trying to get us to where we could leave. So we were trying to leave, and she was biting him, she was hitting him, she was screaming at us. She ended up shoving me. All in all, she went to jail for domestic violence. Come to find out, we're not going there. So we're like, oh my god, like, she's out of our life. Like, it's okay now. And we would go and see him, and he started drinking a lot more. Like, a lot more. He moved in with our grandmother. So it was not as noticeable because she would hang out with us, and our cousin would be there, and our aunt would be there. They would love on us and, like, be there. But he wasn't. Like, he wasn't. And one night he brought us out to dinner and got extra food for his friend. And we believed him. And he went to her house with us in the car. And my brother and I are very upset at this point. Because we're like, oh my god, we forgave you. Like, we trusted you, and you're putting us back in this situation. Like, our mother was like, no, like, she's not being around my children. Like, do not do this. And we trusted him, and he broke all of it. And so I texted him. I was like, I feel very uncomfortable. We're at Sarah's house. And my mom called him and was like, I'm coming to pick up my kids. Like, this isn't cool. And they were like arguing about it. And he told my mom that we told him it was fine. No, like, do not put words into my mouth. Do not lie to my mother. Like, do not lie to me. Do not lie to everyone. Just no. Like, that's... And all in all, he was screaming at my mom, screaming at us. Like, it was a full-on... Like, I was crying. Like, it was... My brothers... We were so scared. It got to the point where my grandma had to come in and be like, no, like, you need to leave. And we'd stay with, he left. I don't know where he went. That was the last time I saw him. He left. My grandma ended up taking out breakfast the next morning. Fast forward, he was the one who canceled on us weekends in a row. Weekends in a row. So one weekend we went to our cousin's birthday party. And because he said that he was helping a friend move. So we believed he was helping a friend move, which... Every other time he was helping someone move, he would still come pick us up, so he had us for the weekend so he could see us, which was really weird. Like, I was 12. I'm not an idiot. Like, I know something's going on. So that day, we told my mom to give him the ultimatum of he chose Sarah and women and alcohol or us. And that's when he was like, well, I'm helping a friend move this weekend. Like, we'll talk about it another time. We had just gotten home from our cousin's birthday party when we found out he moved in with Sarah. I was absolutely heartbroken. Like, I cried for hours. I laid in my mom's arms and cried. And I was so afraid. I was like, I felt so terrible. Like, I am your daughter, and Blake is your son, and you choose somebody else over us. What? And then it was my fault. Like, it was my fault he chose that. How? I'm a child. I was 12. How is it my fault you chose somebody else? I see that now. Back then, and even to some point of this, I still believe, I so badly wanted to go back and every time just shut up. just shut up so that he would love me. Take the verbal abuse and the emotional abuse and the mental abuse and just shut up so that my brother could still have his father. I so badly blame myself that Blake did not have his dad in his life. His biological father. Like, bless up to my stepdad, who is now my dad, who I love dearly, for stepping up and being the father we never had. Like, even growing up, my stepdad came into our life when I was 6, my brother was 4. So yes, we had him. But we're still young enough that our biological father is our father. He should love us and support us and want to be there. And he didn't. We didn't have that from him. Like, yes, we had it from Jason. But for a long time, I didn't have a good relationship with Jason. And I strongly blame that on my relationship that I had with my biological father. And that wasn't fair to Jason. Like, him and I, for a long time, did not get along. Granted, the older we get, like, the more we get along. And I'm very, very grateful for that. And I'm very, very, very grateful to have a father in my life. But for 12 years, my biological father put me through so much emotional and mental and physical manipulation and abuse. And I so badly just wanted him to love me. And he abandoned my brother and I and told me it was my fault. And I believed him, because if that's what I was supposed to do, he wouldn't lie. And like, even though I knew a lot of the stuff that came out of his mouth were lies, I felt I had to believe them because he was my father. And time and time again, he would always like come and give us an excuse, but every time it would change. And I'm like, I'm not an idiot. Like, I realize your excuses are changing every time I see you. No, I don't want to see you. I told you it was her and her child and every negative thing you were doing in your life, or my brother and I. And you made that decision. As an adult, you made that decision. Not me. I'm 12. I did not make that decision for you. Like, that shouldn't even have had to be a decision. Like, you should have chose your children. And like, why that was ever a decision, I don't get it. And so it's very, very frustrating. And so a lot of people don't know that about me. A lot of people were very, very confused why my last name changed just after I had graduated when I'm almost 18. My stepdad did step up and adopt my brother and I, which we were very, 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 very thankful for. We do love him. He is our father. Like, he is our father. He helped raise us, and he was there when our biological father wasn't. So that is why our last name changed. And honestly, like, when I saw a therapist, she said a lot of my roots of my depression and anxiety come from feeling unloved and unlovable and inadequate. And a lot of that, I believe, stems from the relationship I had with my biological father. Like, all the abuse I went through. And I still have a very, very hard time trusting people and loving people and letting people in. Because the second I start to love someone, I feel they're going to leave. And that's something I need to get over and work on, and I get that. But it's very, very scary, and that's when I've had people tell me that they didn't want to be friends with me anymore, that they didn't want to be with me anymore, but kept being there. And I cracked, and I would leave that friendship, and I left that relationship, and it is because I was often told he didn't want me anymore, that he didn't know why he was in my life anymore. Granted, he did this drunk, and maybe he didn't mean it, but he was always drunk. And I got scared, and I would leave, because that's what my dad did when he would tell me. He left. He abandoned me. And I very much so have issues with that, and I know I have issues with that. It's very, very hard for me to talk about that, because I don't want people to look at me and feel pity. I don't want people to look at me and look at me any differently. Like, I'm not asking for someone to look at me and be like, oh my god, like, I'm just, like, no, that's not what I'm asking for. Like, I want to put this out there so that other people who went through something similar or are going through something similar know, like, you're not the only one. And I'm here. Like, I'm so grateful for all the support I got on the posts that I made. Like, I'm so grateful that everyone who privately messaged me and told me their story and opened up to me and are letting me help them. Like, I'm so grateful for that. And that's why I'm doing this. So it is hard. I know it's hard. When our biological father abandoned us, he then went and lied to our entire family. And for the majority, they don't talk to us. They've pushed us to the side. They've kind of written us off as not a part of their family. And that's very hard for my brother, because we love them very much. And I mean, even to some extent, like, I hate my biological, I don't hate people, but I hate my biological father for everything he put me through. And there's a lot I didn't say in this video because it's bad. But there's still a part of me that's like, I still love your family. And there's still parts of my life that you were in that I loved, but you as a person, I do not love. And so it's very hard. It's very confusing. And still at almost 20 years old, like, I'm trying to figure it all out. And it's been 8 years since he's been in my life. And I'm still trying to figure it out. I still have issues with it. And I may forever have issues with it, but the fact that I'm working on it is what's big. So I, again, want to emphasize, I'm not looking for pity. I'm putting my story out there. I want to thank my mom and my close family who knew about what was going on, for the most part, for supporting my brother and I in a very difficult decision, and for being there for us, for our mom, for being not only a mom, but a dad the majority of our life, because we didn't really have one. Again, I want to emphasize, this was never, my mom didn't make these decisions. It was my brother and I don't want anyone to think that my mom's like, oh, a bad person, like, she held us from her dad. Like, no, like, we held us from our dad. Our mom was pushing us to see our dad because she wanted him in our life. But to anyone who is going through something similar to this, or went through something similar, like talk to me, or anyone who just needs somebody to talk to, like, feel free to talk to me. Like, I am here for you guys. And if anyone has any questions about what I went through or anything, like, please do not hesitate to ask. Like, again, I'm not looking for pity, but I get, like, this can be a shocker to a lot of people. And I feel like I'm kind of shocking the world saying this, especially on camera. So with that, I want to thank everyone and anyone who watched this, and I really hope I make a difference in someone's life. Bye.